Hi, this is Camille,
And I'm Kate.
and we are the Flashers.
Yep, that's us. That was weird.
Well, thank you for joining us, lovely listeners, for episode 4 of season 3 of The Flash. That is the topic of today's episode.
Get
Yay!
excited. I liked this episode way better than I did last week's, that's for sure. It was what I'm here for whenever I watch The Flash in many ways.
Agreed. It was a much, I mean, I still didn't love it. I didn't think it was one of the best. I've realized that right now they're building a lot of character stuff and they're building up
Yeah.
to different people and the big bad. It still was a little boring for me, but no, not as bad as last week's.
Yeah.
I did kind of phase out at some points though, for sure.
Right. As did I, because when we were reviewing notes and you were like, oh, this happened, I was like, what?
What was
Who?
that? Who did that? Who said who to what now?
Um, I need to write down something. I just noticed that I just realized that Tom Felton wasn't in this episode at all.
He wasn't. No. We also had very little mention of Club Alchemy.
Yeah.
And
Is that a coincidence?
mm,
Probably not, but
curiouser and curiouser.
maybe Tom's working on a rom-com like I suggested.
He has to take a few days off of set to go film his rom-com. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yes, Tom Felton wasn't in this episode very much, and you should definitely check his IMDb to see if he's doing a rom-com now, because I
I
think
will.
that's possible.
I got a pen. I was gonna write a note down.
Kate, can you do your show prep not during the show?
I
Jeez,
know. I'm sorry. Ugh,
gosh.
so unprofessional. Sorry, 12 listeners. Ugh.
Hey, there was 19 on the last one.
I know,
19.
that's really exciting. Where are you guys at? Do you not care about a more feminine touch on the Flash? That's weird.
Feminine
Uh,
touches on Flash. Speaking of feminine touches on the Flash, this episode had a lot of people touching a lot of other people.
they did.
Another kind of relationship focused episode. We have father daughters, daughter fathers, brother sister, kind of. Friends from other dimensions. Everybody's touching Joe and a beautiful stranger.
Hmm.
So yeah. But I guess that's jumping forward. I would like to start with our opening scene,
Ooh,
which
Captain
is
Cold. Love
yes.
him. Love
I was
him.
very confused because I guess I looked away from the television when the episode started, so I didn't realize that we were in the past.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
I was like, isn't he a good guy now? I don't get it. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, flashback.
Yeah. So I
Haha,
was like, where's his.
flashback. It's funny.
Mm. Yeah, at first I was like, where's his cold gun? Why does he just have a regular gun? Seems kind of douchey right now. Thought he was like not as douchey. What is happening? And then the particle accelerator happened. I was like, wait a second.
This is in the past.
Yeah. And then my computer stopped streaming pretty much like 5 minutes later. So
Well, in case you missed it, we have a criminal duo who is apparently working with Captain Cold at some point, and then they decide to double cross him or leave the group, and he doesn't like it, so he's gonna knock him off because that's what happens when you're a criminal. If you want to leave the group, you just die. That's the only way out. Blood in, blood out. That's a gang term. It's from the streets. You can use that for future reference. So what I did like about the whole fight scene that ensued when they were trying to leave the gang life was that the blonde, I don't know if she's a stunt double turned actress or if they got a really great stunt double, but that girl kicked some butt. And
mhm,
she was fighting like two guys at once while her boyfriend was
mhm.
only fighting Captain Cold. And she was kicking everybody's butt. Like she was handling it.
Yeah.
I'd like to see her actually she would have been a cool superhero to have on the show. She could teach Barry a thing or two about fighting for sure. Should have kept her around,
Yeah.
get some
I
training in.
I mean, in some fairness, her boyfriend's suit was very tight, so it was probably very hard to get a full follow through in his punches with his button about to snap in between.
He just bought a new suit.
Yeah,
He didn't want to mess it up.
And I just want to say that first and foremost, yes, we are two women and we're going to have a different perspective, but my husband noticed that tightness of the suit before I did. And then I was like, wow, that button's bunching.
He is wearing that suit, or the suit is wearing him.
Yeah, I guess a man would notice a crappy suit before.
I feel like, I don't know if the actor like lied on his comp card. Because on your comp card, you're supposed to list like all of your specifics, like, oh, what size I am, what measurements I am. And that way the wardrobe kind of knows. Like, they're always going to ask you again. But I don't know if maybe he filled out his comp card and hasn't updated it recently. And so they made this suit. And then maybe he got buff for another role. And they're like, it's too late. You're wearing this one. we can't go back. It's out of budget.
Which we are not body shaming him at all, because he looked very fit. And even if he wasn't a fit bigger, we're not body shaming. We're just saying it didn't fit.
It didn't fit. We're shaming the wardrobe department, if anything. Yeah. For giving him that tiny jacket.
Let it out a little. Just let it out.
Put in the extra effort. Yeah. Love to wardrobe departments too. They have a big job. So
yeah, for sure.
So yeah, we see the start of a crime duo, and when the particle accelerator hits, dude falls through a mirror and like is trapped in it. And then we cut to what apparently is 3 years later, present day, and the building, I guess, is up for demo, and he suddenly emerges from the mirror. But apparently he has no recollection of time passing. So I guess as long as the mirror was laying down, time wasn't moving for him, because when he came out of the mirror and he's talking to his dame later, he's like,
a lot's changed.
Yeah, he's like, it's only been a few minutes for me. She's like, it's been 3 years, damn it. I got a very like old school,
like Bonnie and Clyde,
type of feel from them. They were cute.
Yeah, I just got "Man in the Mirror" by Michael Jackson stuck in my head. And I imagine that song playing while he emerged from the mirror.
That's my jam right there. I love that song.
I guess it's like, and I'm remembering from an episode of Charmed, like, years back, where Piper goes up to where Leo is, Did you ever watch that?
Quasi-heaven, yeah.
Yeah. And she apparently had been gone for like months, and she thought she was only gone for like a few hours, like that dimension time thing where it's like, it's just different. I don't know, but.
Yeah, that happens a lot in Doctor Who, too.
Oh, does
He's like, we'll be 5 minutes, and then it's 10 years later. And you're like, whoops. But, because time travel is ridiculous. You can't go back to where you were supposed to be for some reason. It's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, that we probably cannot do well.
Probably not. So yeah, where did the episode go after that? I forget.
According to my notes, it goes to Iris and Barry's date.
No, there's something else. So we see Jesse and the Flash. See Quick and the Flash doing some training. I think it's very ironic that Barry is training someone on how to be a superhero when he F up constantly. It's just a constant disappointment sometimes.
And then he's like giving like Yoda advice, like, perception, or I don't even remember. I think that's whenever my computer was cutting out. And
it's like, precision is important. You have to be precise. And it's like, Barry, you can't land like half of your punches.
Yeah. And he's just like running. He's like, and by precision, I mean effing up timelines. Yeah.
Always screwing up everything. I know it's weird, again, with the costuming. I don't understand. So you see them training and he's giving her advice, and then everybody is in the main room of Star Labs, whatever that room is called, central control. And Jesse's sweater, it had holes at the elbows, but it's not like, I wear this sweater so much that I've worn holes into them, or not even like cool ripped jeans holes. They were like precise cut hole, and then it was like cuffed at the elbow. It was like at the end of, it was like maybe the sleeve was like a snap off, so you could go from half sleeve to a full sleeve, and she just didn't button all the buttons. But it was like how like the professor jackets have the suede patches on the elbows.
Cut them out,
but it was but there was no patches. It was just like this weird sweater.
I don't know. I feel like women's clothing nowadays are just doing cutouts everywhere, like cut out shoulders and things that I'm like, I don't understand. What's with all these cutouts, guys? So,
Well, I mean, if you're gonna wear a sweater, why have holes? That defeats the purpose of a sweater. I don't know. Maybe I'm a cold-natured person. So like if I'm gonna wear a sweater, if I'm gonna take the effort to put on a hoodie, it is going to be a hoodie. Like it is gonna have full sleeves, intact.
yeah,
I don't know. That's the only thing I could focus on for most of that scene was her weird freaking sweater.
I was noticing how weird it is when she's in her costume and she has like a deep matte red lipstick, but whenever she's just in her regular clothes, it's like she just wipes it off. And I'm like, I understand that's just to make things look good and all that, but in my mind, whenever I see women fighting with their hair down, I'm like that would be all up in my face. I would punch myself, I'm sure. And like, at what point, whenever you're putting on your costume, I guess she's really fast. I guess you could put on a good face really quickly. So
She does have her hair back in a ponytail, so props on that.
I appreciate that.
But a point on a really good matte lipstick, it is hard to rub off. So that's like a lot of post superhero work with the washing of the face. Get some Neutrogena wipes. Those are really good. Maybe she has some of those tucked in to the pockets.
Yeah, and she's really fast. So I guess it's not super deal, but it was just weird to me.
Quick changes.
Why didn't Barry wear lipstick? Why does it just have to be Jessie?
Well, it's also very weird to me. I did notice, Barry has kind of like it is a full cowl of sorts. He has kind of like the Batman cowl going on. And they just give her an eye mask.
Yeah.
And I don't know if because even Kid Flash, he had like his hair was out, but his face was mostly covered. I feel like a lot of times, I don't know, it seemed weird, like why she would only have eyes covered.
And I was wondering how it stayed on.
Oh, that's a comic book law of physics that will never ever make sense. And then their eyes are painted the color of the mask all the time. Like automatically they put it on and their eyelids are the same color.
Yeah.
Like, what technology is that? I imagine Batman taking off his cowl and having like raccoon eyes.
Like Alice Cooper or something.
It's like smears of black mascara all over.
Like a girl that's gotten drunk and partied too hard and wakes up the next day. My smoky eye. But Jay Garrick, did he have a mask at all? He didn't have one, did he?
He didn't have anything.
Maybe they designed it for Earth 2. I guess it's okay to be meta and open and and not an Earth, just regular Earth. I don't know.
I guess she doesn't have as much to lose, I would figure, by being seen in this Earth. But then, I mean, why even bother? But anyway, that's one of those, I guess, comic book mysteries. It's kind of like how no one recognizes Superman when all he does is take off his glasses. Really?
Yeah.
And slick back his hair. That's ridiculous. I see you, Dean Cain. I see you.
I don't know. I feel like when I rarely wear makeup because I'm at home most of the time, and I've never been one to wear a lot of makeup anyway. And so I feel like I took my daughter to the library and we were meeting someone there that I usually see when we go walking or something. And so she sees me without makeup, and then I had makeup and my hair done, and I don't think she recognized me at first. So I was like, I kind of get it. Like they just put on makeup and
that's it.
And all of a sudden I'm a different person. Because she looked like shocked, like, oh, like that person's not such a beast. Like
you can be pretty.
She has potential. Wow. I mean, probably not, but that's just kind of, I was like, oh, did she really not recognize? Like, all right.
Well, now that you mention it, when I wore my glasses all the time, and then on days I wouldn't, people would be like, you look so nice. Did you put on makeup? Did you cut your hair? I was like, I'm just not wearing my glasses. Really? Are you kidding me? But they didn't not recognize me. They just thought my glasses made me look like poop, apparently. Yeah.
I know.
Well, we do see Jesse and Wally, well, mostly Jesse, trying to get a little frisky whiskey with old Wally there. So
I'm wondering if Jessie Quick was a different kind of name meaning that they gave her. Meaning she's quick to the fellas. I don't know.
She's fast. She's a fast lady.
But hey, go for what you want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't know. I guess this came next where we see Joe in the police station with a sexy DA who is an actress from somewhere. I didn't look her up, but I've recognized her from something else. But it looks like Papa Joe might have a little something something going on this season. Everybody's gonna have a new mama. But I'm sure he'll screw it up and cry about it at some point.
No. Okay, first, I really didn't have too many hating things to say about Iris this time.
Yay! You're improving. Look at you.
I kept it at a minimum. I almost did in regard to one of her outfits again, but then I was like, well, pre-baby, I probably would have worn that. So it's actually pretty cute, but whatever. Probably not for work, but whatever. Anyway, again, there's a dress code. Anyway, so it was just weird in general seeing Barry being intimate with the wine and the candles, and I understand he's dated other people, and I think in the first season he was concerned about his speed interrupting or affecting his ability to, I guess, rhythmically not be too speedy in the sex department. Am I wrong? Didn't that happen? Because he was like, oh, speed, and then it was like the girlfriend that got murdered, right? Am I wrong? I don't remember.
What?
Did I just make up a whole other movie? I just like, I feel like I just described like some weird porn thing. This is getting so weird. Anyway, didn't that happen though? Like in one of the first seasons, he eating somebody I think that worked at a newspaper too.
Oh,
and he was concerned about. I think they were making out or something. They were doing something on the couch, and he was concerned about speed. Like it was implied that he was worried about his being too quick during sex, and so
the dark-haired girl who worked with Iris at the newspaper. That was really brief. Yeah. I don't think she got murdered. I think she just left. But she had a doppelganger who came, who was a bad guy, and she had to fight her somehow. I don't know. Maybe she got murdered. I know she's no longer in the picture. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's for sure. So anyway, he has romanced and done all that before. We've seen that, and he had that cop lady that was a girlfriend for a little bit. Yes. But there's just something weird about it. It was, I don't know. There was just something weird watching it. I don't know if in the back of my head I'm like, you guys grew up together. You're in your childhood home. It was just weird.
For me, it was definitely the fact that they were at the house. And I was like, Joe's going to walk in any moment. I was like, that's weird. That's weird. So. Yeah.
And maybe it's just we don't see too many of these, I guess, adult-like things from him. You know what I mean? Like, having intimate relationships. Maybe that was what was weird for me. Because we're kind of just in this comic book world and just doing goofy CW, and then all of a sudden it's like wine and candles and
the brown chicken
laying on top of Iris. But I was weirded out by the fact that Iris was like, what? Like, he's going to see us kiss. Like, what's the big deal? Like, why did you rush off of me? Iris... I don't blame him. I am married with a child, which implies that I have done something physical with that. And if my father walked in, if my husband, like, get off me. Like, I don't care if we're married. Like, no, that's weird. That is really weird. And she's just like, what? He's just going to see us make it out. Like, what's the big deal? Like, no, I don't see that. No daughter should want her father to see that. You weirdo. Anyway, that disturbed me on so many levels. I thought that was so weird.
It was a little, I just think the situation was weird. And from my point, it was mostly that I knew Joe was going to be walking in any minute. So I was like, maybe go to her place? I don't understand why.
I think she lives there again, doesn't she?
No, I think she has her own place. He moved back in. I
thought she also moved back after Eddie was killed. Am I wrong on that? I thought. I could be wrong.
I don't know.
Either way.
That was under the impression. It kind of gave the impression that she had her own place to me, but maybe not. Maybe you're right.
Well, I mean, considering
Either
that
way,
they couldn't, let out this man's suit. I guess they can't afford to
Extra sets.
Yeah, and another set for Iris's apartment.
We only have the budget for four sets.
Yeah, I haven't seen Jitters in a while.
Something didn't make the cut this season. That's
yeah, I just thought that was super weird, and just that they were, oh, you need to talk to him, like, about how we're gonna be kissing, and it just, like, it was just so weird to me, because I'm like, in what world does the person that you're dating have to talk to your father? I get, like, you guys grew up together, which is weird in and of itself, but I can assure you that my husband, while we were dating, never had to talk to my dad about giving me a kiss. So
I guess it is their situation, though. And the fact that Barry was so clearly weirded out by it.
Yeah.
So, it does. It was funny that he did actually go to Joe and start talking about it in the police station, and he's like, "I don't want to see it. I don't want to talk about it. You do what you have to do. I love you." And he's like, "I love you too."
Yeah, I know. I really appreciated that. But then it also just re-emphasizes the fact that he's basically his son,
right,
dating his daughter. Like, it's just weird. And I think I'd probably be less weirded out, kind of like how you talked about the Clueless thing, Cher and, what was the stepbrother's name? I don't remember.
Oh, no, I don't remember either.
But Cher,
come to me.
Yeah, Cher and Paul Rudd, they didn't live together. They didn't really grow up together. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't share a childhood. They just were step siblings that, lasted for like a few months or a year or so, and like these two grew up together. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they were like they had this world of your siblings, basically. You know what I mean? So that's whatever. It's just, I just felt like it was completely unnecessary it didn't do anything to the episode except for maybe have like things that I guess were supposed to be funny that weren't.
I get what you're saying, though.
I felt like there were so many other good things in this episode that I just was like, that was just stupid. Like, I guess, trying to, I guess not, jumping into them just being like, I guess they're showing the transition of them going from being friends to being
right.
And trying to make it authentic, but I don't want to see it. I'd rather just see the fun stuff, whatever.
Just run. Just run. Jeez.
Just run. Speaking of running, I want to know how Jessie, does she hold or drag Wally? That's always what I want to know whenever people go running off and doing something, because as we discussed last time, Barry probably was holding Iris Superman style.
Right.
And I'm just like, is Jessie doing that for Wally? Or is she dragging him? So come on, you.
I assume there's some sort of side huggage.
Yeah, like kind of dragging him, but not really.
Well, his feet would have to be off the ground because there's no way he can keep up. And if she drags his feet, they'll catch fire, I would assume, or be rubbed off.
Yeah,
that's possibly what happened. So I don't think she's like holding him all lady and a gentleman style, like walking out of the warehouse. Officer and a Gentleman. Yeah, that's the name of that movie. Yeah. But yeah, probably like a nice side hug with a little bit of elevation.
But here's my next question. She's super fast. That doesn't make her strong. Is she just able to somewhat carry him somehow? How does that work? Is there some sort of science behind that I skipped because I cheated through science? Well, I cheated through chemistry. I could do other science. Just screw chemistry. I didn't want to do any of that. But
I thought they had some sort of enhanced strength based on their speed.
Okay. According to the impeccable source of Wikipedia, superhuman speed and strength.
Oh, okay.
So, okay, fine. That's an answer for me. I'm satisfied.
They don't really exhibit the strength part, though. So I don't think the show has very much made him about being strong. Clearly, considering he loses all his fights, he's not. I think you have to be in motion to some degree to really...
Right. Well, that makes sense to me because of the, I guess he would build up enough momentum to have a forceful... I need to ask, I need to review the laws of force with Sir Isaac Newton, or whatever it's called. The laws of motion. Is that what he did?
That's over my head. I'm a theater major.
Yeah, well.
Science hard.
My brain.
I like colors and art.
Let's go back to talking about makeup. I'm trying too hard. My husband, believe me.
Oh. So yeah, we do have them running through town, and Jesse makes a move on Wally, and he's like, no, baby. He didn't say that. But he's basically he rejects her, and she's a little sad. But he has a very valid point. They are from two different dimensions, and she is going back to her home planet sooner than later.
Yeah.
To start a relationship that is that long distance. I mean, you can't even FaceTime that way, can you? Across planets, across Earths? I don't think so.
You have to literally open up a portal in order to see them. Even with that knowledge, I would still probably be really salty about it and just okay. Well, let me just drag you to Egypt, and I'm going to run back home. Get an Uber.
Good luck getting home, sucker.
I don't know why I said Egypt. I just imagined the pyramids for some reason. I was like, that's pretty cool, though. He probably hasn't seen those, so that's not like a super mean thing to do.
Give him an experience, a little travel in his life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so going back, though, I guess to our episode's villain, again, he was kind of a side note. It was mostly about the relationships, I think, in this episode. He's a guy who can transport himself through reflective surfaces, meaning mirrors, glass, windows. I don't know how that equated to him being able to throw a guy through a wall somehow, but maybe it was the window reflectiveness. He throws a bad guy into a mirror. The other guy is seen like passing through another mirror, I think, and then he's outside. So I clearly missed something in that transfer of information, but not a bad power to have, I guess, to be able to transport yourself from one reflective surface to another. Not really sure it ends up being pretty practical. He can apparently drag other people with him and leave them there, as we find out later.
Poor Barry. I appreciate how Cisco always seems to have just the right gadget for these shenanigans.
That's what he does. He's the man. Feel the vibe.
Ooh.
Yeah. Feeling the vibe.
Feeling the vibe.
Yeah.
I adore him. I just wish that there was more of him in these episodes. Bumming me out. I want to see Vibe do his thing.
I'm a little disappointed right now that they seem to have put on a very big back burner his emotional distress. He seems to have just kind of instantly bounced back. I don't know if they're going to revisit that at some point. But it's nice to have good old fun vibing Cisco around. I hope they do go back to his kind of angsty moments, because that's clearly not something you're just going to get over in a heartbeat. So even though he's making an effort, I would assume there's going to be some sort of blowback at some point again.
I hope so, because otherwise it was just kind of like, let's give Cisco this really deep loss and focus on Caitlin, Right. Like it was a little weird. For sure. It was like, his brother was in a few episodes, so the audience will know who we're talking about. And they but he's not significant enough that we can't kill him. So, I don't know. Yeah, I agree. He was kind of still happy, which obviously, grief is complicated, but yeah, I agree with that. Kind of put it on the back burner, but I did appreciate his naming competition that he had with Harrison Wells.
It's like, I do enjoy how TV shows that are not on, like HBO or Showtime, have to do workarounds for cursing for their characters. Because he was like, what the and then immediately someone jumped in with on their next line before he could drop an F-bomb. And then just the words they choose to use instead of, like a-hole or mother flipper instead of that's a bunch of shenanigans.
I watched a blooper reel, I think, of the first 2 seasons on YouTube of them, and they definitely use the F word a lot. And it was hilarious, especially seeing Caitlin. She was, I loved her even more. I love that character. And then I will say, and I don't know if this is good or bad, but the actress that, everybody's like goofing off and like saying something like, oh, like F me, like, like just getting frustrated and like, just goofing around together. She kind of was goofy, in the bloopers, but it was still like that, like, oh, I'm silly, like I'm silly and I'm cute. And then her and Barry were dancing, and they kind of did like with the camera, like a little like down, and like kind of like saw her hips and like butt moving, and then like went back up, and I was like, come on guys, like, yeah. You didn't do that to anybody else, like.
Right, exactly.
So hey, that's my.
We get she has a body. Her clothes are often form-fitting. It's not like she's pulling she's all that, where she goes from frumpy glasses to smoking hot for the dance. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So I kind of felt, I was like, okay, everybody else is, either that's the truth. Like everybody is really goofy and funny and like plays off of each other, and she really is just what you guys are showing, or you're only showing what you think we want to see, which is her butt, so I kind of felt I was like, come on guys, do better for women.
Better.
So yeah, but I encourage you to watch it because it was pretty funny.
I shall have to. Speaking of funny, so first they come up with the bright idea, since Harrison Wells is leaving, that they should reach out to all of the other Earths to find his doppels, give them a riddle to solve, to find out which are the smartest, and bring that person to that Earth instead. And I'm sorry, how is this not a bad idea? I don't see this ending well in any type of form, but the interview process, when they're listening to all the holograms, I have to give it up to Tom Cavanaugh, because his different characters, like that first one, I was like a weird drunk cowboy. It was so funny. And then their reaction faces as they're watching all these holograms, and their reactions to the holograms, I was laughing so hard. I think I rewound it like 3 times just to watch that bit, because it was
made me love him more.
Your whispering blue-eyed angel.
Yes.
No, it was a good scene. It was a nice little acting exercise for Tom Cavanaugh. I got to see his little wackadoo sides.
Yeah.
And their reactions were just cracking me up. And then he got all pissy and moany because he actually doesn't want to be replaced, and he doesn't want anyone to be better than him.
I don't want him to be replaced either. Even if this is potentially the funny Harrison Wells lighthearted one, that Grant Gustin, is that his last name? I remember we had like this whole thing where we were like, what is his last name?
Gustav.
We made him like this weird German, like random, like made up name. But yeah, even though I think this is the one that Grant teased in the interview, I still want Earth 2, Harrison Wells, to stay. Especially with his not jokes.
Not.
So
bad. It was good that they did show a little bit of his angsty, his I don't want to be replaced. And another thing that cracked me up, and also talking about how they replace curse words with like nonsense words. And he was like, I care for you too, you jackwagon.
Oh.
Who uses the word jackwagon? I'm going to start, though. I'm going to call everyone all the time, like, you jackwagon.
But I appreciate it because of the corniness, I guess, that he kind of brought in with his lame not jokes. And so I could see him being like, yeah, you're a jackwagon.
You're a jackwagon.
Yeah, I love the Cisco and Harrison Wells bits that they get going into. And so that's probably what I'm going to miss if this new hipstery jazz singer guy, I don't even know. And then I just wanted to do a shout out for interracial love on the Flash, and by that, like 2 people. But that's still more than a lot of shows, so
sister.
Yeah.
Got the Iris and Wally. The Jesse and no, Iris and Barry. Oh, that would be.
Yeah. Would it really be that weird? Oh,
Yes,
he's my brother?
yes, it would. He's his literal brother. It would be weird. Don't go there.
Well, I think Iris already did.
Iris and Barry, Wally and Jesse, and Wells not wanting them to touch each other ever. It's like, no touching. Stop touching each other.
How old are they supposed to be? I know Wally's in college, right? But how is Jessie also?
I think she was in college when, wasn't she in college when Zoom kidnapped her?
Oh, yeah. I forgot that she was kidnapped.
Yes, she was.
I forget a lot of things.
They're probably, I would assume, 20s. Like probably 20 exactly.
To be 20 again.
You were there more recently than I was.
Yeah, which is probably why I'm like, I don't know if I would actually really want to go back to 20.
No, not at all. No, I'll stay in my 30s. Thank you. They have been much better. All 2 years of them. So much better. I guess back to the villain. It's kind of boring compared to everything else.
Yeah.
He's trying to get a hold of Snart. He breaks his dame out of jail using the mirrors, and we see Joe and the DA again with their little love connection that's forming. And once the dame, Top, as she is named, because apparently she can induce severe vertigo in her victims by just flashing in their eyes, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be lame at first because I was like, what exactly does that mean? Because I've never had vertigo and I've just never really, thought about vertigo too much. And so then whenever they did their little fun house
special effects.
Yeah, I was like, cool.
Yeah, vertigo sucks. I've never had it, but I know a few people who suffer from it and it is no joke. So I assume... Well, that and the Hitchcock film was pretty crazy too. So that's kind of
what you base it off of.
If it's anything like James Stewart's experience in Vertigo, I would not want it in my life. Random dead people falling off of buildings, so and such. So he has to be explained because apparently 3 years has passed since he came out of a mirror. She explains to him that Snart is no longer a threat to them, but Barry is, and he sets out to rid themselves of the Flash so they can rule this city. This is our town now. No one can stop us. Come on, Betty, let's get in the Model T and go rob a bank with our Tommy guns.
Sounds good. I don't know.
Yeah, boss, I love that idea. Yeah.
I was trying not to do too much of like a Harley Quinn because I can only do like the Mr. J. Like I think it's decent, but I don't know. Probably not actually.
Try it. Do it.
I don't want to now. It's too much.
Do it.
Mr. J.
I liked it. It was decent. It was pretty good. Our 2 listeners will love it. There's 3. There's Sam.
Oh, yeah.
Sam the fan. So they set out to get Barry, and they rob a bank. We see Barry and Jessie Quick, as she introduces herself, go out to stop them. And
after being told no.
Well, Barry goes after them when they take off through Maryland. And he tells Jessie, stay here. And of course, why did he expect her to listen? Does he listen to anyone ever? Did he think that was going to work for him? He does not have a good track record. I feel you should lead by example, Barry. So she, of course, chases after him, which puts her in danger, then puts him in danger, and he becomes trapped in the mirror. And I really wanted Carol Channing to come out and sing a song from that Alice in Wonderland movie that's really creepy. Just me? Okay, moving on.
The look I gave you.
Yeah, it was like the late 80s, early 90s Alice in Wonderland Through the Looking Glass movie, and Carol Channing's in it, and she's like, tea for breakfast, la la la. She's very Carol Channing in it. Anyway, so yeah, Barry's trapped in a mirror. We'll just go back to that. And they go back to, somehow she gets the mirror all the way back to Star Labs.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, and I wondered that, too, because I was like, was it that mirror? That, like, somehow she got the mirror back that was the mirror. Like, because for a second I was like, wait, did he just
I think it was
like, did he figure out the dimensions and ended up in a mirror? But then I was like,
you can't give Barry that much credit.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm pretty sure she used her super strength to drag that mirror back to Star Labs. And we figure out that the only way to get him out is to get the glass to get really, really cold so he can phase through it. So they get, I guess, a replica of the freeze gun. They try to do that, and it doesn't work. And while everyone runs away to go check on something happening in this other room, conveniently, let's all go over there.
I know, they totally ditched him. They're like, oh, another meta-human. Bye, Barry.
Bye, stay in the mirror. We see Caitlin covertly use her Ice Queen, I know that's not her name, powers to freeze the mirror to the proper temperature to release him. And it's convenient because the gun is still hooked up, and they were like, we'll figure it out in a little bit.
Yeah, which, pretty much answers the question that she does know how to use her powers on command. They don't come, well, I guess they kind of do both, but she maybe, because I guess we see later on in the episode that it comes on randomly. But she does have some control, so there's that.
So Barry's out of the mirror. We see him and Jesse Quick confront the gangster and his dame once more. Her outfits were really on point. I really liked her wardrobe. Good job, wardrobe people.
The dame?
Yeah, top. And they basically, Jesse knocks her out, which is kind of cool.
Yes, and I thought of you on that one, because as much hate as I have for Iris, you really don't appreciate Barry's fighting or lack thereof.
I don't.
And I was like, oh, Camille might be like, Jesse should teach Barry how to punch.
Definitely.
But did I miss something? How, like, because she was like, oh, I learned quickly, and then, like, punched her out. What did she learn?
How to overcome the vertigo. So I guess her running quickly counteracts the vertigo effect. It's science, again, not my forte. Well, so, because Top uses her powers, she starts to go into the vertigo, and at some point she kind of shakes it, and then she starts running, and then she runs back, and she's like, I learned quick, and she punches her in the face. And that was that. Yeah,
because I imagine when I used to spin around really fast with your arms... and you're a kid and you get all like, woo, and I don't know if this is what vertigo is like at all. I'm just basing it off of the special effects that I saw where and then I would try to run. I usually ate it, so.
But you weren't super fast.
Yeah, I should have just outran my dizziness.
Yeah, just keep running. Just keep running.
I'm going to try that when I get low blood sugar.
They say with ballerinas and ice skaters, people who do a lot of spins and turns quickly, it's both learning how to position your head to snap back quickly to a focal point, as well as after so much time, they just get used to it, so they don't get dizzy. So I assume with her heightened ability of speed, she was able to quickly overcome the effects of the vertigo. That's my assumption. I feel like it probably tied into that lesson somehow. About, watching your next step or always looking around you and being aware of what's happening next. But really, I feel like she just realized she could run fast.
I mean, I guess she knew that with that, she knew that Top was going to give her vertigo, and maybe she was prepared for it a little bit more.
Right, for sure. For sure. And then Barry traps Mirror Guy with mirrors and lights in some sort of trap that had a name. I don't remember what the name was.
I want to look that up. I want to see if it's a real thing or if he just made it up.
They used something similar. Okay, so my extreme nerd is showing. They used something similar in Doctor Who, but they used it to kind of travel through time. But it was a bunch of mirrors set up. It was a bunch of mirrors set up, and then like lights, basically in the same formation. But in the Doctor Who case, it was also connected to the TARDIS, so it could also help with time travel. So it must be some sort of thing, if not only in science fiction. Yeah, maybe
next
it's like
episode of The Flashers. Camille and Kate are going to travel through time with mirrors.
We're going to learn about theoretical physics and time-space continuums. Then we have Wells and Jesse packing up to leave. At some point before this, we do see Jesse and Wally. Wally decides to go ahead and kiss Jesse and have some sort of relationship, which, dumb, Wally, dumb, because she's leaving. You knew that.
Mm-hmm.
And she's saying her goodbye. She's like, yeah, I'll come back someday. And I was like, is he supposed to wait for you? Really? He's just going to sit around waiting for you to come back from Earth 2 whenever you feel like that's a crappy relationship. That is just horrible. Don't do it.
I feel like it's very similar whenever you, when someone suggests going on a break, like, what does that mean? Like,
we were on a break.
There are too many rules and boundaries that you don't know, like, what are you allowed to cross? What are you not allowed to cross? Like,
you were on another Earth. I thought it was okay for me to kiss her.
Right. Wasn't there, I heard somewhere, probably whenever I was, like, in the 8th grade and thought it was super cool. Like, wasn't there, like, a rule at some point where if you don't live in the same zip code, it's okay to cheat? I don't think that's true.
I think that's a prevailing rule that cheaters use to try to get out of being, like, if you're on vacation, it doesn't count.
Oh, yeah.
Like, no.
Are we
it counts.
Yeah. If you're not on the same Earth, it doesn't count.
Right. It only counts as cheating when you're on this Earth. Duh. Jeez. How do you not know these rules, Jesse? So
I said I'd come back someday.
It's been 18 years. I have 3 children. Why did you think I'd wait that long? And then we get Wells leaving the group, original Wells, OG Wells. And then you see new Wells being pulled through by Vibe, Cisco using his powers. And I'm sorry, but everyone was like automatically okay with this dude. Like, I feel like history, like they just assume he was a great guy. He was going to help him out. Like, they're all giving him like his weird handshake, fist bump, hug thing. They're all introducing himself. Everyone's like really smiles and bubbly. They automatically out Barry as the Flash. Like, this is the Flash. He's Barry Allen. There you go.
Well, is that really any different than what Barry always does? Like, not really. He was always telling everybody.
I feel like they could have given him a test run first. Like, maybe not tell the random dude everyone's secret identity. Like, everyone was in the room. Like, here's all the people in Barry's life, including police officers and reporters and doctors. You're cool because you came from Earth 19. So everyone was like just really trusting. And I feel like history has shown us in this show, trust no one. Yeah. At some point, they're going to go bad.
But I guess I see it because we moved from Texas to Tennessee and Devery only had like one phone interview.
They could have hired a murderer.
They didn't.
Your husband is not. No, he's not a murderer.
It's not so far. But yeah, so I'm like, well, I guess it's just like, relocating. You never know who you hire for a job. This is true.
But I mean, you're not trying to save the world from metahumans. You're not dealing with top secret security issues that involve many, many people. So I just feel like it's a very weird, I don't know. It didn't set well with me. I feel like there's something weird about this guy.
Yeah, like how I feel about brother and sister relationship.
Yes.
Makeouts.
Indeed.
I'm sorry, borderline incest is a sensitive subject for me.
It's 2016, Kate. Jeez.
Exactly. It's not the 1600s. This isn't Game of Thrones Flash. I kid. Here's my... well, I guess before I ask, this isn't like a random personal question, but before we get into that, Harrison gave Cisco the heads up that there was no way the gun would have worked on its own, that somebody else got Barry out.
Yeah, the freeze gun never got cold enough. And I assume they have knowledge still of Caitlin's alter ego being Killer Frost.
Right.
So he basically outs her to Cisco, saying someone has powers. Wink, wink. Name rhymes with Maitland Bow. Sounds like Caitlin Snow. Oh, wait, I just said it.
You may or may not be standing right over there.
Right.
And if Cisco takes forever to figure this out, and it's probably in the previews. I'm going to be so irritated with that because it's like, really, he just built like this molecular gun like within 30 minutes, which I really appreciated that with Joe. Like when Joe was just like, why isn't it? He's like, bro, like, we just came up with this like 30 minutes ago. Could you just like shut up? Like,
I just invented this thing and I just made it work awesomely. I do appreciate Joe, though, also being like, science stuff, could y'all not just tell me what I need to do? He just cut to the chase, the science over my head. Yeah. That's my kind of fella.
I appreciate that. I like that. Because, and not to bash on Iris, but...
but you will.
I will. In a sense. And this is probably, this isn't necessarily Iris, this is probably more the writing. In like previous seasons, it always irritated me when they would go off on their scientific tangents and things like that. She just automatically seemed to understand what was going on. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, okay, Iris, like...
Your dissertation was in journalism, Iris. We all know.
Yeah, like let's be real. Like, I'm not saying that you're stupid. I'm just saying that they are at this very high-level scientific thinking. You studied words. Like, it's just a different side of the brain. Like,
it's a different skill set.
Like, right. Like, it's just, at what point in your journalism, even before you did journalism, you were blogging about the Flash and working at Jitters. Like, were you using that part of your brain that you have to be able to easily... I don't know. That just always irritated me. But who knows? Maybe I have like some latent scientific genius within me. Probably not. But
you never know. With the Adderall, so, it might present itself.
That's true. That would be amazing. If I had a car, I would go and drive and buy some science books and see how much.
Next time we discuss theoretical physics with Kate.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna figure out how to do time travel.
The mirrors. Yes.
Yeah, obviously. What else would I do? Raise a child?
Meh, whatever.
She takes naps.
Nap time's the right time.
Yeah.
So we're at basically the end of the episode. We see Joe get asked out by sexy DA, and for some reason he's an idiot and says, I'm gonna hang out with my kids and watch them make out. Basically.
Yeah, like your kids want to make out, dude. Like, stop being a cockblock.
They want to get rid of you, Joe. Go on a date. But I assume Joe, he'll at some point screw it up and cry about it. Because that's kind of his MO so far. Lovely man, really. Again, I appreciate that he has emotions in this show. But, relationships with new people don't always work out. It'd be nice to have another character to get to know. Hopefully it won't be a one season type of thing, but at some point she's going to learn who Barry is, because that's just everyone at this point. They should just pass out flyers.
He should really just get rid of his mask, I guess.
This is true. I don't think anyone would be mad. Like, I feel like y'all are overblowing it. All the enemies apparently know who you are, so how could it get worse?
Yeah. He should just tell Tom.
Just get it over with. And then go to Club Alchemy.
Boots and pants.
The system is down. And okay, so absolute end of the episode, we see the lovely Dr. Caitlin Snow getting her shower on.
I know. Sexy time a lot in this episode. I was like, I know they didn't show anything, but just more is implied, I guess, than any other episode.
She takes showers. Yeah.
Well, just oh, here's my body. Although that I forgot about that scene that I sent you, where she tells Barry that when she's drunk, and tells Barry that he can take a peek at her goods
because he deserves it.
I love her.
Man, I feel like Barry missed an opportunity. If you weren't in love with Iris, you could have been getting all of the ladies just for doing good deeds. Apparently, that's all it takes.
Well, for Caitlin.
Right.
Poor Caitlin, drunken Caitlin. That was probably grieving, too.
Yes, she was.
Yeah.
But we see her taking a shower, and her powers spontaneously this time arrive, freezing her shower, which sucks because I take really hot showers, and that is probably the worst thing imaginable, is to have the water freeze around you. And I hope that doesn't mean she can never take showers that are hot again. That would be sad.
Too cold. So does that mean, can she, and I'm trying to remember, I read how she got her powers. So, and I think it has something to do with her being locked into something when she was in the Antarctic, but I don't remember. Not Caitlin, Killer Frost in the comics. So does that mean that she can withstand cold? Because she seemed pretty fine.
Yeah, she wasn't affected at all.
Because I would have been like, oh, it's cold, it's cold, it's cold.
I feel like that power would have to come with some resistance to cold temperatures. Yeah, I mean, if you can freeze everything around you, being cold probably shouldn't be your weakness.
That's true. Like, oh man, this sucks. Brr.
I need gloves when I use my powers and a coat. And then we see her lips are starting to turn blue, which is freaky in and of itself. I'm assuming in the next episode she's going to be wearing a nice matte red lipstick.
Brows what Jessie left behind.
Right. And her hair goes rogue, as I like to call it. Nice white streak, which hopefully when all my gray hair comes in, I'll have one like it. Or I'll give myself one. Mm-hmm. I want a rogue streak.
There you go.
Sexy.
Anyway, back to Caitlin's hair. She gets a big old rogue streak and then she cuts it out like a weirdo.
Yes. One, she instantly has scissors. I guess a lot of people have scissors in their
manicure scissors.
Is that what they were? Okay, again, girl fail. Because
I assume. I used to have scissors to trim my eyebrows.
But
those were mustache scissors. Like I think I stole them from my dad. Back whenever I gave a crap about how I looked and read in a magazine to do that. That's whenever I was a teenager. That's the only thing that made sense to me.
She
cut really well.
She cuts out this giant chunk of her hair. One, like she's doing it for a drug test, because that's how, when they drug test you by your hair, they try to get as close to the root as possible, and then they cut. This, I'm sure I still have hair growing back from when they drug tested me like that 4 years ago. But she kind of did it, but she didn't even do a great job because she left too much of it. I get it. She's panicked. She's cutting away. But I'm hair dye, Caitlin, hair dye. Just go to CVS. I think they're 24 hours. Or whatever Central City equivalent of CVS or Walgreens or Walmart is. Wear a hat, put your hair in an updo. It wasn't even really visible. Had she done a strategic updo, she could have hid it for another day before she got to the store. Yeah, it was just a very weird action for her to suddenly chop off all her hair.
But also, did you not expect that to happen? Did you just assume that Killer Frost was just rocking a certain outfit and she chose for her to be that way? Did you not expect some sort of physical...
Well, I remember, honestly, I just now remembered that her hair was white, and I figured the blue lips was a palette choice.
Right, because there's so many dark lipsticks now, and she was, bad. So, yeah, that's what I kind of thought, too. So that's when I'm did she not expect that? Did she just assume that Killer Frost just was wearing a weird outfit?
I think maybe she expected it because, she's a scientist and she probably noticed that kind of thing that we didn't. I'm pretty sure she doesn't want it to happen, though. If she's already trying to hide her powers, certainly having blue lips and white hair is not going to help in that process at all. But I think there was a weird moment when she's oh, he's not cute. He's kind of cute for a robber.
Yeah.
And I was you probably need to address your powers before you turn bad.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was intentional or not, because one, I was Captain Cold is much cuter, and you guys have coldness in common, Caitlin. But right. And he's kind of good, kind of bad. So seems like an okay catch. But yeah, I caught that too, and I was wondering if it was in foreshadowing, I suppose.
Yeah, it seemed like it a little bit to me.
But why does I get it? You're Killer Frost. You've got coldness seeping through your body. But why is she the only metahuman that has a physical change that's happening? I mean, I guess it makes sense for a storyline that struggling with.
There was the shark guy.
But that's.
He was half shark.
Yeah,
man.
But that was.
He had legs.
That was a full-on shark man. change. Like this is a gradual, like slowly
I guess.
physical change as a metahuman. It's
I
not
thought
like
there was
instantaneous.
I thought there was another person who had a big physical change, but all I can think of is Shark Man. So I don't
Well, I mean,
know. I
like
guess
I get the physical change, but it's happening gradually.
right, right.
Whereas it seems that she would just be frosty.
Maybe it's through her using the powers, like actually coming into the powers, that more of the cold is taking over.
Gotcha. Speculation.
Yeah. So
Um,
that's the end of the episode there.
here's my question.
Hmm.
Where is Reverse Flash? You made this whole big to-do about, well, I'm where I need to be, Barry, so suck it. And then left. And then all we've seen so far are metahumans in Club Alchemy.
Yeah.
Is he back?
And I don't know. I'm sure someone will comment that it's in the preview, and we don't watch previews. Just so you know, I refuse to watch the previews of next week's episode because I'm lazy, and I feel like it takes away some of the mystery. I like the mystery. I like the fact that we can speculate and be wrong, or people be like, "Yeah, you should have just watched the preview." I'm like, "No, I shouldn't have." Spoilers, darling, spoilers. Hello, sweetie. Yeah, there's no. I assume at some point he has to come back. Where did he go? I want to know.
Hanging out?
Where did you go?
Somewhere?
Oh. So yeah, thank you for listening.
Bye.
Join us next week for episode 5. Bye.
Oh, wait. Bye.
Bye.